Now I'm recording. Darn it. I'll do a quick intro again. This is Sherry Ann, and Carrie is off the screen right now. Oh, there she is. Today is June 10th, 2020. This is the Cancer Journey Show, and today's guest is Betsy. Thanks, Carrie.
All right. Do you want me to say anything? Or you want me to go? Betsy had a journey with MS. She had a diagnosis with MS, and that kind of piqued her interest in becoming one of our Cancer Journey coaches in 2016. She's also a very, very dear friend of mine personally, but she's volunteered to come and allow us to demonstrate what happens in a Cancer Journey coaching session. And what we're hoping is that you get benefit in two ways. You get an answer to the question of what is this thing called Cancer Journey coaching, but you also get some benefit from the coaching yourself on a personal level. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Sherry Ann.
Thank you, Carrie. Okay, let me set my timer. This is just going to be a 20-minute coaching interaction. So let's start with Betsy. Will you PESH me? And for those of you who are watching for the first time, PESH is one of our ways that we start coaching calls. It stands for, the P stands for physical, the E is emotional, the S is spiritual, and the H is for hope. Betsy will give us a number from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, and then she'll give us a word that describes her in this moment. So okay. Take it away, Betsy.
Okay, physically, I am a 10. Emotionally, probably about a 7. Spiritually, I'm a 10. Hope, I'm a 10. And my word for the day would be a little nervous, actually.
Yeah. That's understandable.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So what is it that you would like to be coached on right now?
Well, I have been struggling because I went through a divorce after 30 years of marriage, and it was my asking for the divorce. And I have a lot of desire for forgiveness. Mm-hmm. That my husband is, or my ex-husband is, I mean, there's no conversation between us at all. And there's a lot of resentment, a lot of anger. I hear just through the grapevine, you know, I don't hear it personally, but when we interact, there's still, whenever it is interaction through a text message or whatever, it's still not nice. And I guess it'd be forgiveness from him, but I also, I guess, probably need to forgive myself. I don't know.
I'm glad you caught that, because I'm like, okay, so forgiveness, yeah. Forgiveness from who? Yeah. And I know you're saying forgiveness from him, but you and I both know it needs to start with you, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so yes, yeah.
I see the smile.
Yeah. And I think I've forgiven myself, and then of course I turn around and I still find myself in those spaces and moments of feeling, you know, the guilt and the sadness and you know, and I keep thinking, well, if we could somehow heal that aspect of it, it would be better.
Sure. I mean, it seems like, and I don't know all of this to be true, but I'm getting the impression that you've moved on with your life.
Yeah.
And while things are still strained, it feels strained from what you're saying. Like when you text each other, you could still feel that harsh energy, that you want to move past this.
Yeah, and a lot for my children, because they're the interactions, it's always very disjointed between us. And I'm thinking my kids are going to end up getting married one day, and they're going to have babies. And I'd like to come to some semblance of peace and respect for both of us, so that, you know, my kids also don't have to put up with it, which they are right now.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And that's, I totally hear you. It's like what you did, and I say that with pure love, because it feels like you need it to be freed. What you did has impact on your children, has impact on your ex-husband, and in addition, it has impact on you.
Greatly. Yeah.
So what I'm sensing and what feels like is the responsibility formula, where we get to start with you, and then, because as that saying goes, nothing changes until you do. So let's see where we can go with that. That'll be okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So we start with the what. So what happened? If you can take yourself, when did you get divorced?
So I asked for separation in October of 2016.
Okay. So not quite 4 years ago, but back in October of 2016, what was going on that you felt like you needed to ask for a separation?
We'd had, I mean, our marriage was probably struggled for many years, but the last 2 years after my mom died, it was just really, really hard. And I had a dear friend pass away, and I just realized life is too short. Be happy. And in that moment, I asked for separation, and a week later, he was gone. You know, he moved out of the state. So it was we didn't really work on it from that point. Let's just say that. It was just, you know, I asked for the separation, boom, it's over, which is a good thing. I know that in my heart of hearts, but it's also been hard.
Right, because it was very cut and dry, very stark. It wasn't this, okay, we're working through this. It was like, I got this kind of wake up call. A dear friend passed away, and you thought, wow, I've been enduring all of this, and I want to live my life in the way that I want to.
I want to be, I wanted to, at the moment, I was like, life's too short, be happy. And you know, and at the moment, because it had been so dark for so long, it was, I mean, I knew it was the right thing to do. And yet, but you know, you go through the process, and then you look back and you do, like you said, there's such a huge impact, because it's not just me. It's just
Sure. And so what I'm hearing is you really got in touch with what you needed in a marriage that was not working.
No.
And I suspect that you knew, whether consciously or not, that this was having impact in itself. You knew it had impact on you, but it was also having impact on the kids. And you just, it came to a point where you're like, I can't do this like this anymore.
Yeah.
And that you needed to make a change, which was, I'm choosing to ask for separation.
Right.
At that time, so that was the what. So it's like, what was your intent? What was your luminous intent at that point? Because I don't think that it was to hurt him. Am I correct?
No. Yeah, never to hurt. Never. I think it was more, at that moment, it was probably more allowing myself to love myself, to breathe, to literally breathe. I felt from when I finally asked for it, I felt like this weight just lifted off of my shoulders, and, you know, I felt in a way free. It took a good year for me to get in contact with the sadness, because that's how right it was at that moment.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So at that moment, you felt everything opposite of what you just said. You didn't feel free. You didn't feel loved by yourself. You couldn't breathe. There was the suffocating closing in of your life. Like, is this going to be what it's like for the rest of my life?
Right. Yeah, I felt like an alien in my own home.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could so feel that.
Yeah.
And from here, Betsy today, can you look back at that Betsy of 2016 who felt like she couldn't breathe, she was suffocating, she was stuck, and have compassion for that woman that needed to feel free?
Yeah.
And it wasn't to hurt anybody, it was to save you.
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
So could you, I get that you're feeling compassion for her. I'm like, I can even feel you wanting to wrap your arms around her, that Betsy. Can you forgive her for what she did?
I mean, I can say it, I mean, if I'm honest,
I want you to be honest.
I have a really hard time.
Yeah.
I struggle with that a lot. I mean, I know why, and I know it needed to be done. But
Yeah. Because if you didn't do it, what do you believe would have happened?
we would probably still be living in a very unhappy home.
And what would have happened to you?
I mean, I wouldn't have the life I have right now. You know, I mean, there would be other things there, you know, there's losses on both sides. And I would have a very different life. Obviously I'd be closer to my kids, but as far as a love life, I wouldn't have felt loved.
You wouldn't have felt loved.
I wouldn't have felt complete, you know, and you know,
and free.
Yeah, and it's just so sad because I mean, I know I did the right thing.
Yeah.
There's still so much pain in it.
Right.
You know, 4 years
it isn't easy to take yourself from that bondage, from what you knew and what everybody else knew, to this place of uncertainty and different. And yet your soul seems like it was crying out.
My soul was crying out. I mean, I gave myself back to me, and I know I gave myself the permission to be happy. You know, and so on a selfish level, I know, you know, and the pain is what I struggle with my family, and even they know. It's just this is just such a funny thing because my kids even know, even though there's been a lot of loss, you know, and so it's like on a rational level, I know all of this and I know I did the right thing and all of that, but I struggle with that deep level of forgiveness. And I struggle too because I would, like I said, I also would love to be able to have my husband forgive me.
Right.
My ex-husband forgive me.
Right. So let's come to you, and then we'll get to your ex-husband.
Yeah.
So what do you get? Can you imagine if you, well, let's go the other way. What do you get right now by not letting go of that piece within you, where not forgiving yourself and holding on to that so-called guilt?
Yeah.
What do you get?
I mean, I know. When I bring it up, it just, you know, I get this feeling in my stomach, you know, like my solar plex, and I know it's not healthy. It's not. It doesn't serve. I don't know what I get because, you know, when you bring that up, I mean, what comes to me is like, why, you know?
Well, I mean,
you know, what are you getting? I don't know. Maybe I get to beat myself up.
And if you,
Be
right,
nice.
it's
For not
like,
being
it's like
nice.
penance. I did something,
Yes.
I believe that I did something wrong, so I need to punish myself, or I have to,
Exactly.
so that it would be okay. Is that
Yeah.
true?
Yeah, that's what, yeah. I
And
get to
and
make myself wrong. Yeah.
and by making yourself wrong, what do you get?
That's a good question. I guess I punish myself. I don't know what I get out of being punished, but that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know what I mean, nothing positive. Let's just say that,
Okay, so let's take it to your ex-husband. If you feel like, oh, okay, I'm going to punish myself for this thing that I did, what does he get? What do you think he gets?
Satisfaction.
Is that true?
I think part of him would like the fact that, yeah, I don't know
Like that you're suffering, that
Yeah,
you're
I don't know
hurting
that-
yourself.
yeah, I don't know. I can't say that it's true, but knowing our relationship, I think that that might make him happy. It might make him feel like it meant more than what he thinks it meant. And maybe that's what I struggle with, because
So Betsy, what I'm seeing is that you wanted it because you wanted to be free. You wanted to breathe. You wanted to love yourself.
mhm.
And I feel like you're still shackled. So does that penance, that beating yourself up, does that allow you to be free?
No,
Breathe.
not 100%. Yeah.
What would you like?
Yeah.
If you got to have your preference, this is all about you.
Mhm.
What would you like? What would you want?
Well, I would want the ability, and this is more an action, but I would want the ability for all of us as a family to be able to be in a family environment when necessary, and to let go of all these negative things so that our children can feel comfortable. Because, and I think that's what I hold on to. That's what I would like. And I'm sure part of that comes from me too. But that's what I would like. I would like peace.
You would like peace.
Yeah.
Do you feel like holding on to beating yourself up and penance is going to get you peace? Because remember, nothing changes until you do.
Yeah. No.
So
No.
what if you could give this up? Let's just try that on for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
What if you could give up beating yourself up about this?
I'm sure. I mean, for me personally, it would feel better. I don't know outside in the world how that would, because I haven't even expressed this to anybody, so out in the world, I don't know it unless it's on an energetic level, because my kids, I don't talk to my kids about this. I've never talked to my ex-husband about this. I haven't talked to my friends so much about this, because I don't know if they'd even get it. They'd be like, oh, you needed to do it, so it's
right. Your head's got a hold of this.
Yeah.
It totally understands. But what we're dealing with right here is your heart. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, what I'm hearing you say is, I caused some pain.
Yes.
I caused a major shakeup in everybody's life, and I feel bad about that.
Yeah.
Even though in my heart, I know it was for the good of everyone, because you couldn't be the loving person to yourself, but even to your kid, to anybody, if you were stuck.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And so to get to peace and calm, what do you need for you?
To forgive myself.
It's like you were saving your life. Is that true?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and actually I was saving my husband's too. You know, he wasn't happy. Nobody was happy. You know, it was necessary.
Right.
It was needed. So,
Right.
you know, and I know that.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah. Can you forgive yourself for being the strongest one so that you could save everybody? Really, it takes a lot of strength to
It
lead
does. It takes a lot of strength to leave. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
being brave and courageous.
Yeah. I can. It
Can you
needed to happen.
try it on? Just try on. I forgive myself.
I forgive myself.
Can you say it again?
I forgive myself.
Breathe. Can you do it one more time?
I forgive myself.
And now I want you to just say, and I take my power back.
And I take my power back.
Oof. One more time.
And I take my power back.
How's that feel?
Cathartic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to revisit this, you know, just remember this.
Yeah. I mean, we can do it again and again. It is in
Yeah.
layers.
Yeah.
But in this space, what do you know?
That it was the right thing to do.
And where do you feel that?
Well,
In your
I've let go of that stress in my solar plex.
Uh-huh.
So that's dissipated. That's interesting. It's interesting how the body holds on to it. So
Right. And how it lets you know when something's there and when it's not.
yeah. No, I definitely feel cellularly different right now. You know, that's interesting. Yeah.
You did a great job, honey. Thank you for being so brave.
Thank you. Thank you for working me through that.
Oh, my pleasure. And what's one word that describes you in this moment?
Peace.
Lovely.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you so much. I feel honored and blessed that I get to be here with you in this moment.
Thank you.
And got to witness you in this way.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'm going to put you back.
Okay.
Hi, darling.
Hey.
Hey.
What a lovely illustration of coaching and of one of our key tools, which is the responsibility formula, and getting Betsy to forgive herself. So we have a very specific way of walking people up to forgiveness, and it's really involves having a lot of compassion for the person we were when the thing happened.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like you did, like you walked her right up to the forgiveness, she wasn't ready. She couldn't do it. And so you had to go back and kind of help her remind herself of why she did what she did. And it's amazing, the shift, the energetic shift, how powerful forgiveness is.
Right. And how precious that we are, that we come to the rescue of our own selves.
Yes.
You know, like her soul was crying out, and it takes bravery and courage to make these hard decisions.
Yes.
But
that was such a beautiful acknowledgement of her courage and who she had to be, because it would have been easy to just keep going, but you kind of look back and go, well, what's the point of surviving MS, and what's the point, you know, if I'm not going to claim my life fully?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's true for the cancer journey. It's like you've endured something and you know that life is precious. So how do you want to live your life now? And I'm so in awe of Betsy wanting to have her best life. Like she gets to. And I really do like the phrase, it's not just words. It's like nothing changes until you do. And sometimes we have to be the ones to make those hard moves and the hard decisions and the hard actions so that we free everybody.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. And I loved how you brought that in, that it wasn't that she was willing to go first. She was willing to kind of jump off that cliff and
Yeah,
free everybody, even though there's been some bumps.
right.
So
I was an honor to be able to do that. So
yeah.
I love what we do, and it is always an honor to walk with somebody through their journey.
Yes, that is so true. That we are honored. We are honored to bring this show to you, just because we get to do more of what we get to do. And if this helps in any small way for you to forgive yourself for something you've been holding on to, then we're just ecstatic about that.
Yes.
So is there anything we want to remind them of before we sign off?
We do have a free workshop tomorrow. It's called From Panic to Powerful. And if you're interested in signing up, you can go to our website, thecancerjourney.com. And on the front homepage, there's a place, it's under events, so that you can sign up there.
Great. And then we're also, if you want free coaching, we are offering free coaching during this month and next month. So if you're interested in that, just pop an email to, is that what they do? Pop an email?
There is a link in events also about the free coaching, and that's under events. And there's just a little quick form for you to fill out so we know who you are, and we can match you up with the appropriate coach.
Right. So just go to the cancerjourneyinstitute.com for anything that you're wanting in addition to this.
I'm sorry, Carrie, it's just thecancerjourney.com.
What did I say? Oh, the cancerjourneyinstitute.com. Okay. Okay.
So go to thecancerjourney.com and it should all be there for you. And we will see you on YouTube, because that's where we'll put this recording, and we'll see you next week with another guest client.
Just remember, you're more powerful than you realize. Bye for now.
Bye for now.